welcome. Thank you very much for joining us here on Times Now. This is Times Now Live and I'm Hina Gambhir. Viewers, around 360 kilograms of inflammable material and an accidental blast resulted in 9 people losing their lives. The terror plot linked to diabolical doctors is getting bigger and murkier. The Nogaon police station was blown to smithereens late at night after a massive cache of explosive substances and chemicals stored on site triggered an accidental blast. Explosives, possibly ammonium nitrate, were recovered from a room rented by one of the accused, Dr. Muzammil in Faridabad, on 9th of November. At the time of explosion, the materials were being processed and forwarded for forensic examination in Jammu. Listen in to what J&K DGP Nalin Prabhat had to say about this accidental explosion.
Last night, around 11:20 p.m., an accidental explosion has taken place. Any other speculation into the cause of this incident is unnecessary. In this unfortunate incident, 9 people have lost their lives. The extent of this damage is being ascertained. The cause for this unfortunate incident is being inquired into.
Additionally, reports indicate another connection linking the Delhi blast to the seizure in Faridabad. A highly volatile chemical known as mother of Satan, yes, triacetone triperoxide, also known as acetone peroxide, is given the nickname mother of Satan due to its high risk of accidental detonation while manufacturing or transporting. Now, this volatile white crystalline powder is sensitive to friction, shock, heat and static electricity. According to reports, traces of this dangerous substance were found in the vehicle, the I-20 car that exploded in the national capital, and it may have really contributed to the explosion is what we have learned from sources, and it may have also had some kind of a role in the Nogaon police station explosion as well. We don't know. There's no official word on that yet. While the investigation unfolds, many unanswered questions regarding stockpiling and the deadly motives behind this terror plot remain. And to discuss it, I'm joined on the broadcast by my guests. We have Dr. Vikram Singh, former DGP Uttar Pradesh, Sharda Prasad, former senior IPS and former director of the National Institute of Criminology and Forensic Science, Major General Brajesh Kumar, retired former DG Military Infrastructure, retired Colonel Mahesh Ramachandran, who is a defense expert, also joining us on the broadcast. Good evening to all of you, gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining us here on Times Now. Major General Brajesh Kumar, I want to begin this discussion with you. Now, we have learned from sources that in the car that exploded in the national capital, perhaps also had triacetone triperoxide, also known as TATP, also known as the mother of Satan. What do you make of it? What is TATP? And can that cause an explosion of a kind we saw happening in Delhi?
Well, good evening to our viewers. It's a very sad day that we lost 9 police and experts on bomb and what have you in the police station in South Kashmir, and 27 danger. The 27 are very, very in injurious state. After a tremendous job by the Jammu police, on which we complimented the other day, for having, taken it up and cut the people, doing all sorts of things in Faridabad. This, I think, was an accident which was best avoided. It's all under the realm of specific, speculation as to what substance it is. How do you procure it? How do you procure it so easily? How do you store it? How do you move it? And more importantly, the expert body of Jammu and Kashmir police, how do their forensic people test? So whether a new element, what you said, quite likely, quite feasible, but still it's in the realm of speculation. The fact remains, why did we move this huge amount of explosive from Faridabad to Kashmir Valley? Secondly, why did we store it in the police station which is housed into a colony, a residential colony per se, with a narrow area. Thirdly, we are doing this experimentation or investigation at midnight. Urgency is understood. At best, it is to be done in places which is away from, habitation. Anyway, in hindsight, we all tend to get wiser. The other aspect which is about the new explosive, how do you procure it? In the previous case, we did talk about it. From the fertilizer or from, the mining industry, which use, those explosives, we could get it. Where do you get this? And that to a large number. Obviously, these are procured over a period of time, etc., etc. The other aspect which is intriguing is the handling and going on. When you say an IED is not something which happens on its own. It has components. Explosive is an important component, absolutely fine. Because explosive gives it a shape of the target. It gets blasted. And for the effect, depending upon whether it's incendiary, whether it's damage to human beings, or something else, you put the target accordingly. Secondly, this explosive is initiated by a mechanism called initiation mechanism. Where it's a detonator with a switch, with a pull, pressure, remotely controlled, and what have you, or electric detonator. Now, unless you have this little chain of initiation hitting into explosive and blast taking place, the thing doesn't get completed. The explosive normally would be really fairly stable, but then in this case, we know that the explosive material which you're talking of is not stable. It is amenable to handling issues. It's amenable to fire or incendiary. It's amenable to temperature rises. Now that's elementary, but the fact remains, where did the experts go wrong? We got to find it out. Because it has a ramification. It has international ramification. It has ramification with our neighborhood. Our policy of, ops, sindoor continuing, etc., etc. So very, very important issue. And we have to be deliberate about it. No brushing off the cuff by various stakeholders would do justice. And I hope we have the expertise available. Whether it's the NSG has a bomb detection data set of people who monitor each and everything, whether it's the police in JNK itself, whether it's the Indian Armed Forces or Indian Army in particular, or some other agency for that matter. But we have to get to the bottom of it.
Absolutely. And those are important questions that you have raised. And I would like to take those across to Mr. Sharda Prasad as well. Why do you think it was moved to Jammu and Kashmir? I mean, do we not have the wherewithal to look at, or to investigate it here in Delhi NCR? I mean, what do you make of the points that have been raised by Major General Brijesh Kumar?
You see, it's like this. After all, whatever explosives were seized at Faridabad, that's a case property belonging to a police station there, where the explosion has taken place. So logically it needs to be carried like that, but then it's an explosive. So the normal rules will not apply. There are special rules for handling such things at a distance. For example, had some incident occurred on a ship, do you mean to say that ship would have been carried to Srinagar? Not like that. So here is a substance which is sensitive in nature and classified as explosives under the Explosives Act. So it should have been tackled here only, and instead of item being carried to Nowgam, what they should have done, that forensic experts could have come here, and with the available videography and others, they could have drawn sample from here, and the total quantity sample would have been drawn, and then that lab examination could have been done by drawing the sample. In fact, this is one area where there was no need at all for carrying. And I am thankful to God that while being carried from Faridabad to that place, it did not explode halfway, because if you put the ammonium nitrate in a tight container, then the gases generate, and because of high gases being generated, it's possible that it will explode midway itself. Luckily, it did not explode there. But then normally, ammonium nitrate by itself does not explode. It needs other items to explode, other mixture to explode, most likely the fuel oil, as they call it. And ammonium nitrate fuel oil, that combination explodes by itself. So this is the first thing, that there was no need to carry. Instead, FSL should have come here and withdrawn the samples, if necessary, by taking the orders of the magistrate, and maybe even in the presence of a local magistrate, that could have been done. Second is, if you take the item there also, it should have been stored, as has been pointed out, it should have been stored somewhere else, not in a residential area or not close to the police station. And then whatever I learnt about it, that the forensic experts, when they are withdrawing the sample from there, it cannot explode. It's not possible to explode while withdrawing. Just taking sample out of ammonium nitrate, not possible. There must be something else.
You think with that, with ammonium nitrate, there were other explosives as well? Because we've learned from sources that from the blast site here in Delhi, you know, from that car, they have also found traces of TATP, triacetone, triperoxide. And I was just looking at the history, you know, of this particular chemical, this explosive material. Can you explain to us what it is? I believe it was used quite a lot in 2000s. It was used in several terror plots, including the 2005 London bombings as well.
You see, acetone is a basic material, and different chemicals which are coming out of acetone, they can be used for this purpose. It's a bit sensitive substance. So, but point is, as far as this car is concerned, which was found in Lal Killa as burnt, there what has been accurately found and what traces are there, that's a matter of investigation. It's not possible for us to give any speculation at this level. But what I felt, that besides the ammonium nitrate, the gentleman or whosoever died there must have been carrying everything which was removed from Faridabad, and they're trying to hide somewhere else. So maybe there was a fuel oil there, maybe ammonium nitrate, maybe acetone, maybe some detonators also, maybe some other compounds also. So that's a matter of speculation only today.
Colonel Mahesh, what is your understanding? Any thoughts that you have on the presence of TATP from Delhi blast site?
Yeah. Good evening, Hina. Good evening to you and the panelists and your listeners. Let me first say that TATP, as it's called, that is triacetone triperoxide, like you said, was used in the 2005 London bombing and in many other bombings. It is a highly volatile primary explosive. So it's a primary explosive, not a secondary explosive. And the explosion is caused with the reaction of acetone and hydrogen peroxide. Now, I would just like to say my observation on this. What are the ingredients of a successful car bomb blast? Okay, firstly, you have a primary explosive. You could have TATP, or you could have ANFO, the ammunition nitrate fuel oil. But you may need a little bit more of secondary explosive, something like PETN or RDX, or a mix of two, or a mix of two in a fixed ratio. You need a detonator, very rightly brought out by General Brajesh. You need petroleum products to enhance the blast effects, the thermal and blast effects. You also need fragmentation materials. I don't know if it was used here, things like ball bearings and shrapnels and nails, etc. Normally, they're used to increase the lethality and increase the number of casualties. You need a confined space. So that was there available in both in Delhi and in the Nowgam blast as well. So that confined space is the one that lends itself to a lot of lethality, and most important, the strategic placement of these explosives. It happened, and it has to be in crowded areas where they know that there will be casualties. So I make no mistake. I have no doubt that this was a high intensity blast. It was intentionally triggered. there is a terror angle in this. It will come. I would not like to, second guess the forensic agencies, etc., who are doing this investigation. But I am sure, much like in the Delhi blast, there would be a terror connection. There would be a Pakistan connection as well.
No, they've
And
already
this
described
is
it
going
as
to
a
surely
terror
test
incident.
the government's doctrine.
Center has already called it a terror incident.
Yes. Yes, so no, I'm just saying. So now there will be connections. There is absolutely no doubt. It's chalk and cheese. There will be a connection to definitely one of the Pak terror groups, GEM, LET. We will see. It'll all emerge, and it will put the new doctrine, the Indian government new doctrine of a terror attack is an act of war. It will put it to test.
Okay. Dr. Vikram Singh, now, why we are discussing TATP specifically is because of its history and how that was used in some, big cases in the past. Manchester Arena bombing 2017, the suicide bomber used a backpack ID that contained TATP and shrapnel. Then in the 90s as well, some terrorist organizations in the Middle East also started using them. Then you've got the attack in Spain that happened, Sri Lanka, Easter bombings. This is what the investigators found, that TATP was used. Is it something new, or do you think it's common? I mean, for us, it's new. So I want you to explain to our viewers.
Nina and gentlemen, good evening. It is not new. You yourself mentioned that the first was the London bombing 2005, then the Sri Lanka Eastern bombings, then the 216 Brussels bombing, Manchester Arena bombing, Brussels attack, Parsons Green bombing, Surabaya bombing. And what to have it, this is just a small preview of the bombings. It is a very popular item and used because ease with which it can be acquired and the devastating effect. Just look at that. The TATP has an overpowering overpressure of 70% that of TNT, and that makes it even more lethal. Therefore, the popularity, the ease with which it can be procured, the historical use goes to say that it has been used for a good 30 years now. And for a good 30 years, perhaps now there are better alternatives, but it continues to be one of the most popular explosives in the hands of incendiaries, terrorists, and also those who have a criminal intent. I would say that I have no reason to disbelieve or question what has been said by the very illustrious Nalin Prabhat, DGP of Kashmir. And yes, when I try to diffuse any explosive, there are standard operating procedures. I just don't venture and try my hand if I am not trained, suitably trained, and trained with the latest explosives and the wherewithal. I would not even touch that with a barge pole. I repeat, with a barge pole. There are experts, and there are experts on this panel, and who would do better. And to say that also to Colonel Mr. Sharda Prasad, my illustrious colleague, that you don't move explosives from A to B, you take a small sample and take the permission of the court and produce it before the court. That is perfectly in order and legally admissible. Right. And then the UXB, moving explosive in this manner, also was, I would dare say, an act that was very indiscreet. It should never should have happened. But that it moved, let us not be judgmental or be judgmental in hindsight. I think that this needs to have been reinforced, and our standard operating procedures should be faithfully implemented and best handled by expert and not by novices.
All right, we'll leave it there, but very relevant points you all have made, gentlemen. I'm completely out of time. Thank you very much. We'll, of course, be tracking this closely ahead as well, but thank you for the moment for joining us with your perspective.